putting work, turning nothing into something. They feelings hurt, we turning nothing into something. Give a fuck if they don't like me, cause all this bread I count excites me. Turning nothing into something, nothing into something, turning nothing into something.
What up, what up, what up, what up? What is going on? What is going on? And as you can tell, we haven't done a Blunt Thoughts in a little while. We haven't done it in such a while that we have here the banner saying successful home opener, which is definitely what we had. And we've had a lot of success since then. And how's everybody doing, man? Welcome to Blunt Thoughts episode, what is it, 33, 34, 32? I'm not even sure. But it was something that we decided to do kind of like last minute as the day was going on, just with everything that we've heard since last night, and then going into this morning and this afternoon. Obviously, we listen to the radio, and we read the newspaper and all that good stuff. So we just wanted to react real quick. And for those that are wondering, we're not gonna stay on for the game. This is not gonna turn into a watch along. This is just a quick, I don't want to say pregame, but a quick Blunt Thoughts live, which is good because now we're like, what do you call it? Under pressure to finish this quicker rather, than later, which we always have a problem with. But what are we talking about here, ladies and gentlemen? We're talking about the article in the New York Post by Mike Puma that contains some comments from Juan Soto. Not contain some comments that were basically about Juan Soto. It was a one-on-one interview, I guess, that he did with him. And it was basically, talking about Juan Soto's start, which to some of us, we can say it's been a little bit underwhelming. Why is this thing still up there here again? Okay, we've established that successful home opener. But here's the article from the Post for those of you that haven't seen it. We're not gonna read the whole thing, but here's what I'm thinking. And the quote that caught everybody's attention, obviously, is where Juan Soto says it's definitely different. And what is he talking about being different? Well, having Aaron Judge hitting behind them as opposed to Pete Alonso, right? So when I see that, I'm like, okay, tell us something we don't know. Tell us something we don't know, right? First of all. But second of all, I'm like, I wish there was video of this because I would love to know how this comment came about, right? And you would think it comes to answering a question. Maybe somewhere along the lines like, hey, Juan, what do you got to say about your start? It's maybe not as good as it was last year, or maybe not what you're accustomed to, or what we're accustomed to, or what we expected, or what you expected, whatever the line, somewhere along those lines. And maybe Mike Puma even said, I would think it's a little bit different hitting in front of Aaron Judge. And Juan Soto's response is, yeah, it's definitely different. It's definitely different. Now, this again is taken different ways, right? Of course, for Yankee fans, they take it as fodder. They're gonna have fun. They're gonna poke. They're gonna say, "See, we told you. You thought you wanted to go over there. This is what you get," and all that good stuff. For some Mets fans, it's like, "Oh, it's the media. Why are they writing this? Blah 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 blah. They were trying to get the Mets, and this isn't that." For someone like me, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna blame the media. This is a direct quote. He said it. I don't necessarily have to like it, agree with it, or anything like that. Although, again, this is something we all know. This is something I heard all winter on Blunt Thoughts Live when people were telling me that there was no reason we should bring back Pete Alonso, that Pete Alonso was a detriment to this team, that Pete Alonso couldn't be the protection that Juan Soto would need in the lineup. Met fans were saying this, right? But when somebody says it, see, we're a little hypocritical, all of us, including myself. We're hypocritical as Met fans. When someone else says something that we're saying, we don't like it. We don't like it, and we go nuts, and we make a big deal about it. Or how could you say that? That's not true. Or you're just hating. But wait a minute, we were just saying the same thing not so long ago. Not me, not about Pete. I always felt like Pete could be that dude. I always felt like Pete could be that dude. To me, it was about Pete taking ownership to what the hell he was doing and having better at bats and having a better approach at the plate, which is something that, credit to him, he went in the offseason and worked on and is now taken into games. And a lot of people don't want to give him credit for that. All the credit goes to Juan Soto. All the credit goes to Juan Soto. Oh, it's Juan Soto the reason Peter's getting pitches. It's Juan Soto Peter's having success. And I'm not saying that Juan Soto doesn't have that effect on the lineup. Of course he does. Of course he does. But also, let's not forget that one of our biggest gripes was that Pete Alonso wasn't coming through in clutch situations. So that tells me that the situations were there. Are there more now? Maybe, maybe not. I haven't dove into the numbers that deeply to see 15 games last year. How many situations, how many opportunities did Pete Alonso have with runners in scoring position as opposed to now? How many runners in scoring position did he have? But the situations were there. We were frustrated because Pete Alonso couldn't handle it. He wasn't getting the job done. I shouldn't say couldn't handle it. He wasn't getting the job done. Was he putting too much pressure on himself? Whatever. I don't know. But credit also goes to Pete Alonso. Like I said, for putting in the work in the offseason. What do I always say, ladies and gentlemen? It doesn't matter who hits behind him, in front of him, or whatever the hell it is. If Pete Alonso continues to swing at those sliders in the first base dugout, pitchers are going to keep throwing them. Pitchers are going to feel comfortable pitching to Pete Alonso because they know we can get him out. We know how to get Pete Alonso out. So that's what we're seeing in the beginning of the season, and that should be expected. Because again, I had many of you fans telling me this was going to be the case. Right? Oh, teams are going to walk Juan Soto to pitch to Pete Alonso. Is Pete Alonso going to be able to get the job done? That's what I kept hearing over and over. So that's what we're seeing now. Well, Pete Alonso is getting the job done. So eventually, pitchers are going to have to adjust and either say, wait a minute, we can't necessarily put Juan Soto on because then we got to deal with Pete Alonso with more men on base. With a man on base, maybe there's already a man on base. And at first, we're seeing now, okay, we don't mind pitching to Pete Alonso with two men on. We think we can get him out. Well, that's not happening. So what do you do eventually? Do you start pitching to Juan Soto? Maybe, possibly. You start challenging Soto, like, you know what? Now we got to start challenging this guy because Pete's not making it easy. Although you start not also walking Pete Alonso like we've seen, I think once or maybe twice, to push to a Brandon Nimmo or whoever the heck happens to be hitting behind Pete Alonso that night, which tonight happens to be Starling Marte. I know Ramos is in here. That should make you happy, my guy. It ain't your guy, Jesse Winker, but Brandon Nimmo has been dropped from cleanup, which I just finished doing my little lineup video. That's kind of why I started a little bit late. And I talked about how someone was telling me or posted or commented on one of my posts or whatever the heck it was. I don't remember even who it was, saying, we know Carlos Mendoza doesn't write the lineup. It's written for him. That's David Stearns and all and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, really? Are you paying attention? Because if you're watching these games and you're paying attention and you're listening to what these guys are saying, there's no way that you can have that conclusion. There's no way that you can have that opinion. But back to the matter at hand. For me, ladies and gentlemen, I had no problem with what Juan Soto said. Listen, we asked for honesty from these guys. We ask for honesty from these guys. And when they give us honesty, we get bent out of shape. Again, because we don't like what we hear. We want honesty as long as it's what we want to hear. Nah, nonsense. Deal with it. Honesty is honesty. Hey, every player goes to their becoming a Met moment, a Knicks moment, a Giant moment, whatever it is, especially when there's a free agent player that comes in, or maybe it's a big trade, a blockbuster trade, which don't happen as often, especially for us in New York. Usually those turn into bust. But these players always have that moment where we finally really welcome them. Like we've welcomed Juan Soto. We welcomed Francisco Lindor. But he still needed to have that moment. Now, some guys take longer than others. Some guys have some stumbles along the way. right? We saw Francisco Lindor have the thumbs down moment. We saw Julius Randle have a thumbs down moment. Or what was it? I forget what Julius did. Was it the finger or something along those lines? Also, right? Sometimes they make certain comments that make us unhappy. And we're like, what the hell are you doing? I'll be honest with you guys. I haven't liked what I've seen from Juan Soto, like in the way he expresses himself and stuff like that. Like, I feel like, yo, you're not a free agent anymore. Cut this business attitude out and show me you're a Met. Stop this day and let's talk about we. But that takes time. And also, shout out to Gary Myers as the pregame just started. I got it on here, who said last night in the postgame, Juan Soto really is all business because of the way he was talking in the postgame is all business. What he says in this interview, which is great stuff. Right? When I've been having fun talking about, yo, I didn't want Omar Vizquel, I didn't want a table setter. I want a game changer. And all you guys keep telling me, well, he's still getting on base. He's still walking. Look at his on base percentage. Look at this. Look at that. Look at his OPS. That is all true. And we're going to end this with a little bit of fun. But it's like,
Hello, Moto.
what the? We have, oh man, that really just broke my train of thought. That really just threw my train of thought. Here we go. Let's get to your comments real quick as I regain my train of thought. I apologize for that. Shout out to my guy Left Fueler who says, I understand what Soto was saying, but it was bad timing. Maybe. Some people would say, keep that to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Keep that to yourself. Why you got to say it? But like I say, we want honesty. I don't mind honesty at all. This is like the second or third time when Raul comes in here and talks about world champs 2025 New York Mets. And I agree with that. We don't like it. What do you mean we don't like, Eric? We don't like the comments? I don't know. I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. It's honest. And it's not anything that we haven't heard or that a lot of people didn't share. So I don't have a problem with it. Now go out there and get the job done. What I am starting to wonder, like I said, I keep saying, is this guy Omar Vizquel a table setter or is he a game changer? All these years, right? Shout out to my guy Cousins. We talked about it a lot. He's probably not watching this. I haven't spoke to him in a while, but shout out to my guy Cousins, who always said the Mets need a superstar. Francisco Lindor, Peter Alonso, they're stars. They need a superstar to alleviate the pressure. Right? So this is what we thought we brought here. Thanks, Aunt. Shout out to Premio Sausages. This was a giveaway. Oof, that was horrible. But we wanted a superstar to alleviate the pressure, right? To be that guy, to be that face of the Mets, even though we already have a face, Lindor. But you know what I mean. To be that dude in the lineup that teams fear. Well, that's what he is. Obviously, by the way they're approaching him. But does he realize the magnitude of what is expected of him as a New York Met? See, because he was able to go to the Yankees and play with Aaron Judge. And I don't want to say sit in the background, but not necessarily be that guy. You know? But eventually, he'll figure it out. It took Lindor a little while to figure out, like, yo, I need to take control of this team. And I'm not saying that Juan Soto needs to take control of the team. I'm saying he needs to take control of what he is for this team. And is that dude. Maybe they do need to drop him from second So you can leave this mentality of I need to set the table for my other guys. Now again, this is what I was gonna say. I knew my trainer thought to come back. I'm all for a good at bat. I'm all for understanding. This is what we asked of Pete Alonso. This is what I am now asking of Brandon Nimmo, who's starting to really annoy me. And you guys know how I feel about Brandon Nimmo. I'm a big supporter of Brandon Nimmo. But Nimmo's just starting to piss me off, with all due respect. So I'm all for a good approach. I'm all for when he says the pitchers are pitching me differently, and I'm not going to come out of my element. They want to walk me, okay, I'll walk Pete. They want to walk Pete, let Pete do the same thing, and so on and so forth. But eventually, one of you guys got to hit the damn ball. We're going to leave it to Tyrone Taylor? So then I can hear you guys complain about Tyrone Taylor when he's supposed to be just a role guy? You dig what I'm saying? Let's get to your comments real quick before we wrap this up and we have a little bit of fun. As we're going to have, I think, our first in-season, I may be wrong, our first in-season, You Make Me Sick. If you're a fan of Blunt Thoughts, you know about You Make Me Sick. Oh, we're going to have one today. We're going to have one today. Shout out to Crazy. Crazy didn't want to produce today. What the hell you want me to do? Yeah, Crazy's a funny guy. I'm going to have to tell him about you. Stop putting you up. Nah, shout out to my homie. But, this was an impromptu. He's probably outside having a little fun, enjoying the weather before the game or whatever. I don't know. I think he texted me too, but I ain't got a chance, Quays. I'm busy, baby. Should be in here doing your job, damn it. Nah. D-Rose says it's called self-awareness. You got to learn how to think before you speak. Listen, there's some truth to that. There's definitely some truth to that. Again, some people have the opinion that he probably shouldn't have said that, and I'm not going to say that you're wrong for that. I just appreciate the honesty. And he went on to give Pete Alonso tons of credit. You know what I'm saying? If I can find it here real quick in the article. Everybody's got a role. We have to take pictures. If they want, I just pass the baton to Alonso. Let him do the same thing. It just means that I'm sorry, guys. I wanted to play some audio real quick, and we're running out of time. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. But I wanted to play some audio because, listen, and I know you guys, I don't say you guys, but I know this guy is not too popular. But if you have time, because I'm not going to be able to play it, go listen to Andy Martino on a show of two other guys that is not too popular amongst my fans. My guy Sal and BT. But they had a pretty good spot with Andy Martino. And I can always say, the reporting with Martino is not as bad as some people would like to say. His opinion sometimes, I can't stand. But it's our job to differentiate what's opinion and what's fact. I thought he had a lot of good things to say today. I thought he was very reasonable. Matter of fact, let's listen in real quick. It's only 11 minute spot. I'm an idiot. You got to bring it up, Heck, before we listen in, moron. Here we go. Real quick.
And the Yankees.
We want to have some fun.
I told you, BT, many times before, I trust Andy's reporting because I know him well, so I trust him more so than anybody else in this town.
I don't necessarily like that.
A little bit about the recent Soto.
You know what? Let's pause that. It's funny. I was having this conversation with somebody today, with Joe and Clark, and we both didn't like that. Like I said, I don't like a lot of things that I seen, but at the same time, listen, it's cold out there. What are you gonna do? But listen, if there's any other guys that I play softball with, we didn't really play too much in the cold weather when we played in Evans League with the baseball league, but in fan baseball. But when we played fall baseball, softball, I hated when my guys were bundled up. I hated it. And when they stunk, I told them, that's why you stink. Because you're not out here ready to play. You're worried about the cold. You let it get into your mind. That's why you're not hitting. Because you're worried about the cold. Instead of worried about kicking this pitcher's ass. But I'm a psycho, ladies and gentlemen. What can I say? But I'm with you, Junior. I don't like the whole bundled up the hoodie and all that good stuff. Ramos says, listen, I give credit to Soto for being honest about what he feels. Probably not good timing, but it wasn't ill-intended. But he knows to keep it to himself next time and avoid the media circus. Yes. Now, there's something that Andy Martino said real quick in the beginning when he speaks here, and it's something that I also thought about last night. Is I hope this doesn't cause Juan Soto to shut down now and not want to talk to the media or not be as open to the media because as fans, we need that. We want that. We want that. I know these guys now have, podcasts and this and that, and at the end of the podcast, and they appear on these shows. But on a day-to-day grind, we depend on the media, whether we like it or not, to have a connection with these guys, to know what these guys are saying. You know what I'm saying? So I hope this doesn't cause him to shut down. Be the second best hitter thus far. This is only big news because of the media and us betting higher than the Yankees. However, Judge is more feared than Alonso. That could be the case. Yeah. But again, I'm not going to necessarily blame the media because we react. We don't have to react the way we do. We don't have to react the way we do. Ramos, exactly, bro. Mama said if you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Dodgers have Otani, Betts, and Freeman. So what? We got Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. Bring it. 2026 Mets are getting Tucker. Great comparison, Heck. It took Lindor a minute to understand the dynamic. Not worried about Soto, to be honest. Yeah, now the only thing that surprises me is that he did play a year in New York. But it's different with the Mets. It's different with the Mets. The Yankees, you go there, the media has a different approach. They have this reference to the Yankees, you know what I'm saying? Judge is already there to like be that dude, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Now, of course, as Lindor has said, there's a way to be a Met now. Soto just has to get the memo. But it's just a different animal. We're different as fans. We're anxious. Let's be honest. We're anxious. We're anxious as fans. We don't want to hear nonsense from the Yankee fans. Shout out to BT who said that this morning. I agree 1,000%. Let's listen in real quick here.
Stuff coming from the New York Post. Andy, what were your initial thoughts with the Soto comments?
Well, Sal, my initial thought was good on Juan Soto for giving an honest analysis and honest answer to a question. And my second thought was there's no way the New York market's going to blow this out of proportion, right? It will be received calmly and rationally in the spirit it was intended. So I was wrong about that second point. No, I just thought, look, honestly, and somewhat selfishly too, I hope that this doesn't push the really engaging, honest young man Juan Soto into a place where he doesn't want to talk anymore because I appreciated his insight. He's obviously correct. And I wish that more of the fan base of both teams, or maybe of sports in general, could hold like these somewhat conflicting realities that he's happy to be a Met, a guy he likes it here. He lobbied to have Alonso here, but he's adjusting to life away from a franchise and a workplace that he loved very much. All those things can be true, and it's not an insult to anybody for all those things to be true. So I feel kind of strongly on this one, honestly, Sal, about feeling bad for Soto if this becomes, whereas it has become somewhat controversial because he did nothing wrong.
Well, I don't think it becomes controversial.
And listen, I agree with that. I agree with a lot of what we said. We overreact because we like to. That's what we do. That's what we do. We like to overreact. You know what I'm saying? So we make a big deal out of everything. It's like MEZ says here. I love Met fans, but sometimes I get upset over the dumbest things. This Soto thing is nothing. Shaking my head. I agree. It's not a big deal, but it's just a talking point. We're here to have some fun. I miss you guys. Don't you miss me, MEZ? Don't you miss Solo Heck? Where's my guy, The Hobbit? I hope he's in here tonight. The Hobbit, where you at? You want a Solo Heck? We here, baby. I need you. I need you. Get MEZ off my back. Was he really the guys with the Nationals, though? When he first came up, he was rookie. Well, he wasn't really the guy. He became the guy. But then, what the hell were they really, you know? But were they really? You're a damn fool. Yeah, I don't know about that. He needs to be second, but we'll agree to disagree on that. And we'll leave it alone for now. I know you did. Oh, you know nothing, bro. You know nothing. You know nothing. Thank you. See, at least family coming to the rescue, man. Thank you, nephew. Thank you. Where's the other nephew at? He probably working. Fortino at his finest. No, Fortino was very good, man. There we go. Eric being the mature guy in the room. Let's listen in a little bit more.
Versal, provided he doesn't keep going to this well. I think it's, lesson learned, you know what I mean, Andy? And it kind of stinks because we want our athletes to be honest, and then when they are honest and they lift up the curtain, we kind of criticize and we're questioned for what they question them for what they said.
It's a very good question.
I guess what I'm asking you is, do you think that he undersold just how big of a transition this is going to be? It seems like he might have a little bit.
Look, Sal and I have been talking about this on BNY on the show for a while, so I think it's fair to look at that. And I think it sucks for Soto that every time this comes up, it gets Mets and Yankees fans like all hair on fire about him. He's a hot topic. I get it, but he's a human being who, like I said, I try to put myself in these shoes. You got this job that you love. It's amazing. You have this magical year and you love it. And you almost went back to that job. But then you and your family felt like this new job opportunity was even more tempting. And so just by like a sliver, you chose the other one. Great, cool. And then you're going to have some emotional fallout from that. And when the Mets, this isn't just me talking, when the Mets look at Soto, they look at a guy who's honestly in the process of adjusting to this big change. And I don't know if, to your question, BT, I don't know if it was undersold because, yeah, maybe some people just thought, you're on the Mets now, you're getting paid a lot of money. Settle up, big boy, you'll be fine. But even rich people are people, right? And he's going through a process.
So if you're in the Mets organization right now, how do you think the Mets are taking these comments?
Well, I know, Sal, that they're taking it like, first of all, it's easy to blame the media on something. They're like, this is being blown out of proportion. I'm sure there's some circling the wagons around that. And they also know things like regarding specifically Soto and Pete Alonso, who is sort of, this is the way this is playing, as Alonso versus Judge in a way, the lineup protection, I guess. But It was Juan Soto who on the Friday before he agreed to sign with the Mets, 2 days before he agreed to sign with the Mets, went to Steve Cohen's house in Boca and looked him in the eye and said, if I come here, it's really important to me that you sign Pete Alonso. So, what carries more weight, that action or these words today? So the Mets organization knows that he lobbied for Alonso to be his lineup protection. They know that he's a good young guy. He's a young guy, right? Like that's the thing is they see him as somebody who may not do absolutely everything 100% perfectly, but is remarkably mature and composed for a guy his age. And they're taking it in that spirit. And they have a long history with the Mets of guys like Carlos Beltran and Francisco Lindor, who fortunately are both there to help Soto through this transition. Both of those guys had a rough transition themselves in a similar spotlight. So they know that it's just part of that. And I'm not in the Mets clubhouse. I'm in New York going to report on the Yankees game today, but I've talked to people and I would be very surprised if this played big in the room, like maybe it is out of the room.
Okay. So
guys, I say put $1 at least on a parlay Soto Pete Alonso bomb. Woo! That's what it feels like tonight. Anyways, I did want to listen to something else.
So fair enough. So I didn't think, Andy, there would be a tougher set of circumstances for Soto than what he had a year ago, playing for this massive contract,
how you doing, kid?
playing for a team that is expected to win championships, that's been in this recent drought for a long time now, winning. I actually think now, and I would never have thought that really until recently, that I just think that there's more pressure with the Mets in this weird, like by a substantial margin.
I actually called them today.
Look at the World Series when you think. I think it's a good point, BT. When you look at World Series, the way it was marketed was Judge versus when Ohtani's not pitching, rather than making sure you're living up to a contract. But he's an introverted young man who works hard. I feel kind of bad doing that. He's so clutch, but he wasn't.
I do feel this was interesting because he does give me that vibe that he's kind of introverted, which is okay.
The guy with the extreme spotlight on him.
The Mets,
and, maybe for him,
might be,
playing for a contract is less pressure than making sure you're living up to a contract. But that's me speculating, trying to get inside a guy's mind.
Sure.
So I feel kind of bad doing that. I know the guy, though, and I've been around him now for 2 years. I can't say that I know him deeply, but we talk. I observe him. I've observed him in the two environments, and I would say that he's an introverted young man who works hard and seemed like he was having a great time last year. Seems like he's having a good time this year. So he doesn't walk around like somebody who's under a lot of pressure. But I just know how much he loved the environment with the Yankees last year and how hard it was to leave. I've left jobs where I've been like, oh, God, I miss those people. And that's fine. I was also happy in the new job, you know? So I just think, I don't know if it's about pressure or.
I'm going to do a sal on you, Easy. You could do your own show and you could talk about center field all day. I'm not going to go crazy about something that they're not going crazy about. And I'm not going crazy about this. What do you want to talk about center field? You want to put Acuna there? They said before the season Acuna wasn't going to play center field. Now things change. They also said that they left the door open to anything. Right now, they have no urgency in talking about replacing center field and putting Jose Siri on the IL. We heard Mendoza today. Let me see if I can find that real quick. You want to hear about center field? Talk about they're not even putting what's his face on the IL yet, Siri, because they may use that move for Canning, who's sick, I guess, and won't be able to pitch. So can Acuna go out and play center field? Possibly. This is what I said not too long ago, too. We're going crazy about who's going down, Acuna and Beatty and this and this and that. And I said, who the hell knows what may happen? Because something always happens, and these things have a way to figure their way out. So now they both may end up on the team. In my opinion, I believe they're waiting for either Alvey or McNeil to be ready to bring one of those guys up. And like I suggested in the preseason, we may even see Starling Marte play center field. But everybody wanted to dismiss that. But what do you want? You want Drew Gilbert? You want Luis Angel Acuna? Like, how much do you want to talk about that? Center field. Tyrone Taylor is your center fielder, bro. That's what your center fielder is. It's Tyrone Taylor. Deal with it. When they decide to make a move, then we'll talk about it. Can Acuna possibly be maybe an option? Maybe. Possibly. What else you want to go? What do you want to go now, producer? Okay, Evan, this is a nothing burger. As always, fuck the Yankees. I agree with you there. But I haven't been talking about what the Yankees fans have to say. I was talking about us Met fans. But I got to wrap this up. I'm hungry. You don't want to hear any more of the interview? We'll leave it alone. For any of you guys that are interested in the interview, producer M Easy for the night says, go listen to your damn self. Nah, but seriously, I do got to go. And I do want to have some fun. Maybe the producer likes us. Maybe he doesn't. But guess what? This is Blunt Thoughts, and we don't give a damn. We're going to talk about what we want to talk about. But nah, man, listen. To wrap up this whole Juan Soto situation, as my guy Junior says, I hope Soto gives Sal a thumbs down tonight. Hey, maybe he does. More importantly, I hope Soto hits one out of the park, drives in a couple of runs. Oh, not even hit one out of the park, but a home run, yes. But just give me a couple of hits, driving some runs, and let's have a ball game, baby. And let's start going on that streak that we all know, that we all want, that we all expect, where he puts the team on his back and says, here we go, guys. Because it's going to happen. And it's going to happen more than once. And then he's going to have a couple of games like this, maybe another time in the season. But he's going to be Juan Soto. We're not worried about that. We're just having fun. Someone asked me, you're not concerned? I said, concerned about what? If he was hurt, if we found out he was dealing with something, then I'd be concerned. But I'm not concerned. I'm annoyed. I'm underwhelmed. But I definitely expect, where is it? A lot of Platano power. I'm not worried. But you guys know, we like to have fun. And we like to have something that we call You Make Me Sick. You make me sick. And right now, I hinted at it earlier, what makes me sick is somebody that I love. I love Brandon Nimmo. If you follow me on X, Go watch a video. It's about 4 minutes. I'm sorry. Sometimes I talk too much. It's about 4 minutes. I would play it now, but MEZ might get mad. I did a video of Brandon Nimmo. If you watch my stuff, you know since 2023, I've been talking about, not this 2023, this show, but on X, and even last year, about how I thought Brandon Nimmo should be dropped from leadoff in 2023 when we were looking for protection again for Pete Alonso. Oh, I think Brandon Nimmo could do it. I even called him a poor man's Bernie Williams because Bernie Williams did that at times. And he batted in the middle of the Yankees lineup. I felt that Brandon Nimmo, with his approach, not necessarily hitting for power because he wasn't hitting for power then, not yet. But it was a guy that could handle the bat, that was going to give me a good at bat, that wasn't going to let the moment get too big for him. Right? So I was like, yeah, drop Brandon Nimmo on the order. And that people laughed at me. People said, you're crazy. We're not going to drop Brandon Nimmo. Well, it happened. Now nobody would even entertain the idea, or most people wouldn't even entertain the idea of moving Brandon Nimmo back to leadoff because we love Francisco Lindor there, right? But we're sick and tired of Brandon Nimmo batting fourth. Carlos Ramos has me crazy with the Brandon Nimmo can't bat fourth. He can't have the most running scoring position opportunities and da-da-da. And I can't find him right now. I can't. Brandon Nimmo's approach right now makes me sick. Brandon Nimmo's approach right now makes me sick because he stopped being that hitter that I thought that he could be. And instead, all he's doing is swinging for power. I was laughing last night watching BNNY when they're talking about, oh, Juan Soto is a guy that works the pitcher and he sees pitches and he helps build the pitcher's pitch count up, a la Brandon Nimmo. And I'm like, what the hell are you guys watching? Because that's not Brandon Nimmo anymore. This guy's seen barely over 3 pitches in that bat. I shouldn't say barely. It's about 3.9. Stop lying, Heck. You have the numbers in front of you. Don't lie to the people. Nonetheless, it's not the Brandon Nimmo that we would like. It's too many damn strikeouts. Too many damn strikeouts. And it makes me sick. Where is he? Here it is. Brandon Nimmo, 3.81. So you could say almost 4 pitches in that bat. Heck, that's decent. But it's not Brandon Nimmo. Now, I should probably do more research and see what he's been like in the past and how many pitches. But I'm willing to bet that it's more than this. But I don't give a damn about how many pitches you're seeing. It's what the hell you're doing with the pitches that you do see, with the strikes that you do get to hit, that he's swinging over. Because now he wants to lean on this newfound power, which is good, but there's a balance. And we heard him in the offseason talk about finding that balance. And I thought he was going to, and it's early. It's 15 games. But in these 15 games, yeah, Brandon Nimmo's approach gets the You Make Me Sick award. But that's that, ladies and gentlemen. That was your Blunt Thoughts. Guess what? On a Tuesday night, we haven't done a Blunt Thoughts live on a Tuesday night in a while. Because we've been stuck doing the Mets Talk Unfiltered, which we have a lot of fun doing. But sometimes we miss this one-on-one. I get him easy to come here and work me up. It's not hard. Anything works me up. D-Rail says get rid of Beatty now. It was leading that way. It was leading that way. But Beatty may have a little more time. And maybe he doesn't. Listen, he's not playing now for the second game in a row. If Acuna has another good game, might be in trouble. It was coming, but you might have pushed for it to come sooner rather than later. You've definitely been consistent with your Nimmo hate. You definitely have. Now, let me stop. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, we appreciate you guys. We got a little bit over 100 of you beautiful people up in here. Listen, we'll take that. We'll take that, especially on an impromptu 6:30 show right before game time where you could be watching pregame, where you could be doing anything but listening to my stupid ass go on and on about nonsense. Like M. Easy said, about a nothing burger. But that's what we do here at Blunt Thoughts. We give you our blunt thoughts. You like them, you don't like them, you take them how you want. But we appreciate you coming in and consuming the blunt thoughts. On that note, everybody have a good night. Let's enjoy this ball game. Let's see what Tyler McGill got out there tonight. Let's see if this line can finally get it going. Let's see if we can win a laugher. But more importantly than anything, let's go out there and win a ball game and secure another series. We finally get out of this freaking nonsense that I've been talking about of playing American League teams. Right? As we started this season, playing 4 out of first 6 series against American League teams. But let's go to win another one. Let's go win. What is it now? Our 5th series of the season? Yeah, that sounds good to me. You already know. LFGM, everybody. Peace.
Click full of animals and we made ourselves with minimal. Fuck you, no subliminals. Putting in this work, nigga. That's why they feelings hurt, nigga. Swear we need a hearse cause we rep our shites to the dirt, nigga. If I'm in the club.